So it's official. iRacing has lost the IndyCar license and it will officially end on after December 31st, 2022. There's been a lot of stuff that's come out about this, few things said about it, and I've had quite a few people ask me my opinion on it. And so in this video, I'm going to give it. I'm going to tell you why I think this is actually important, why I think IndyCar has made an enormous mistake, and why motorsports games is probably doing a favor, but disguised for iRacing. I'll explain all of that after this. What's up, everybody? Thomas Brandon here. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. And like I said, we're going to be talking about the whole iRacing IndyCar license thing. Now, couple things. First of all, I got asked about this on my live stream last week on Wednesday or Friday. I don't remember the exact day, but somebody asked me my opinion on it. I hadn't really been following it. I hadn't been paying much attention to it. I had heard something about it, that there was going to be, news coming out about it, but I don't do a lot of IndyCar racing on the sim. For those of you guys who follow me and know, this is what I do for a living now, right? I am a content creator, entrepreneur, and what I do for a living is focused around sim racing, specifically iRacing. Okay, so I'm pretty invested into that platform. And although I will be the first one to tell you that there are some things that definitely need to be improved on the platform, overall, I really like it, and I think what they provide is pretty incredible when you actually think about it. That being said, like I just mentioned, that does not mean there's not room for improvement. Now, I say all this to let you know, okay, that I'm coming at this from my perspective, okay? And although I am invested, in terms of my business and stuff like that, to iRacing, I'm not really invested in the IndyCar stuff. Okay, I don't do IndyCar stuff. I probably race them maybe 4 or 5 times a year, and 2 or 3 of those races is usually the Indy 500. I race like the fixed and then the open, right? I might take 2 cracks at the open. That's it. That I might do 1 or 2 other races here or there, and that's pretty much it. I don't really mess with those cars. I do much more dirt oval and NASCAR oval stuff. All right, so for me, this personally doesn't really make that big of a difference. Now, the reason why I find this so fascinating has to do with the involvement of motorsports games and the what I feel to be moronic decision by IndyCar to go with motorsports games. And here's what I mean. I've I've been doing retail trading and investing now for close to a decade, okay? And I'm good at it, all right? Now, obviously, I'm not like I'm Warren Buffett or anything like that, because I don't have that kind of money. It's much, much smaller scale. But I can read charts and I understand the financial markets better than the average person, right? Probably, considerably better than the average person. Motorsports games is a nightmare. It's a mess. From a business perspective, why IndyCar would make this decision, I don't know. I don't understand it. To say that they are in turmoil is probably the understatement of 2022. Motorsports games is just abysmal right now. They really are. And if you look at their track record with what they've put out in terms of other games, right? Look at what they did with the NASCAR game, right? The NASCAR Ignition. That game was an abomination. It was. I was actually going to try it. So I was going to try it out and test it, and then kind of compare it to the iRacing stuff to see what it was like. Every review and thing that I saw was so horrible. The game was buggy. Things didn't work. I wasn't even going to waste my time and money. It was not worth it for me to even try. And from my understanding, from everything that I have seen, still, it's still that way. It's just an absolute joke. So for IndyCar to decide that they want to go at motorsports games is really baffling to me. Now, this is motorsports games charts. Folks, we don't need to be economists to see that this is bad. Okay, this is literally the definition of a downward trend. From the day that it opened, right, it's done nothing but go down. And when we look at this stuff, we can see that, like on the earnings, for example, they were they're everything that they're doing is so far, they're just in the tank. And for IndyCar to go with this company, right? To build their exclusive game, it's just baffling to me. It makes literally no sense. And I've been trying to think of a way to illustrate this, right? To kind of put this into an analogy. And the only thing I could really come up with is this. Imagine, right? Imagine I have a product, right? Let's say I make, I don't know, toiletries or men's healthcare products, right? Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, shaving, razors, stuff like that. Everything that stuff for men, right? That they need, deodorant, that type of stuff. And I make that, okay, and I make it with Walmart, right? So I the Walmart brand, right? So the Walmart branded stuff, I believe, is called Equate. I think it's the Equate brand or whatever. All right, and then they sell it in the Walmart store. Okay, well, I'm obviously making good money doing this. I'm having success. It doesn't say, my name on it, right? Or maybe it does have, my name on it, but everybody kind of knows it as, that's the Walmart stuff, right? It's got my name on it, but it's the Walmart stuff, okay? It says produced by, Thomas Brandon Products or whatever, but it's the Walmart stuff. Well, now I want my stuff to be exclusive. Okay, I want it to be exclusive. I want it to say, Brandon Healthcare Products on it or whatever the hell. All right. And so I'm going to go out and I'm going to go sign a deal with another company, all right, to do this. But when I do this, when I sign with this other company, they want it to be exclusive, right? So not only am I going to be working with them to develop my new product, and hey, look, man, it's going to be my product and say Brandon Healthcare Products on it. Okay, that's awesome. That's what I want. But when I do this, I can only have my products in their store. It's exclusive to their store. And so I signed the deal. And essentially what I've done is I just traded my deal with Walmart for exclusivity with Kmart, right? Like that's essentially what they've done. Okay? They left Walmart. IndyCar's leaving Walmart. Pretty good deal, right? A lot of good things they've done together. And they're essentially signing an exclusive deal with Kmart. Motorsports Games, they're in a lot of trouble, right? I mean, you just saw the charts. They're a publicly traded company. The shares are like $2 a share. I mean, it's really, really low. And they don't seem to be doing better. There's a lot of turmoil, a lot of drama. Right? You can go read all the news reports and press clippings and stuff. Board members leaving or fired, just all kinds of craziness and drama. And once again, we have an exclusive deal being done that, in the end of the day, only hurts us, the consumer. I have not seen anybody out there, not one person out there who is a fan of IndyCar who has seen this and been like, this is good for IndyCar. This is a good deal. I can't wait to see this. I've not seen one person. And I've spent the last 2 days looking, right? Even though it's been the holiday, when I've had free time on my phone, I've been looking, trying to find people who have a positive viewpoint of it. They don't exist. And if they do, I can't find them. Okay. And so I really think IndyCar has made a huge mistake with this. I do. Um, like I said, and even like obviously I'm heavily tied and invested in iRacing, right? In terms of my business. Now the folks at iRacing don't know me. They wouldn't know me if they tripped over me in the street, right? They have no idea who I am. But for me, I'm obviously tied to them. So you can take this with a grain of salt, or look, understand that I'm looking at this from my point of view, but um, the to there is no comparison between motorsports games and iRacing. There just isn't, right? You can look at things R factor 2, right? There might be one or two cars that they have. There might be a couple of things that they do that might be better than iRacing, right? Now I've heard a lot of people say like, well, their force feedback's better. Okay, congrats, right? Like, yay, your force feedback's better. I would take iRacing every day of the week over anything that R Factor 2 has to offer. Okay. iRacing, is head and shoulders better than it. It is. And one of the reasons why these exclusive deals are so bad is because it disables competition, and competition is important. It really is. I got to be honest with you. I wish motorsports games would do a better job. I do, because I think competition for iRacing would improve iRacing. It would make them do much better, right? As good as it is, as much as I enjoy it, it could always be better. And competition is a good thing. It forces those who are competing to provide the best possible service at the most competitive price. It's just the way that it is. The example that I use for this is the CPU market, right? Look at Intel and AMD. Look at where they are at right now. You can also look at this in terms of the graphics cards, GPUs, right? Nvidia and Radeon. It wasn't very long ago. What was it? 5, 6, 7 years ago, where if you had come out and you had said, there is going to be a time in the next 7 to 10 years where AMD is not only going to be better than Intel, it's going to be drastically better than Intel. In fact, the AMD CPU is going to change the way we think of personal computing, right? In terms of cores and threads and stuff like that. If I had said that, people have been like, dude, you need to be in a straitjacket. You need to be committed. You are nuts. That it was not even a thought. It was not even on the horizon. To say that Radeon was going to create a GPU that would compete with Nvidia, once again, nuts. But what happened? Intel sat back and rested on their laurels. They were dominant in the CPU market. And what did we hear for years? 4 years. No. We can't put more than 4 cores on these CPUs. We can't put more than 4 cores on the package. 4 cores, 8 threads. That's the most that we can get on the consumer chips. Now, if you want to go to our Extreme series, right, our enthusiast platform, right, you want to go to X99, X299, well, then we can get more cores. But those CPUs, that's $1,000. Or you could get our 10-core CPU, right, for $2,000 or some astronomical price. Right? That's how Intel played it. And they played it like that for years because AMD, what they had was junk. It was garbage. And then what happened? The Zen platform comes out. The first Ryzen CPUs are launched, right? There you can tell that they're not on the level with Intel, but man, they're getting there. And look, man, these CPUs, you can get 6-core, 8-core, 10, 12-core, right? I can get 12 cores and 24 threads, and I can get that for a fraction of the price of one of these extreme CPUs. And every single generation, they got better and better and better until now. You got Intel having to do what where they're like, oh, well, we've got an 8-core now. We've got a 10-core. Oh, actually, we've got eight power cores and 12 efficiency cores, right? When it's like, I thought you couldn't fit more than 4. Oh, we figured it out. Yeah, bull. They didn't figure it out. They just didn't want to do it, right? They sat back and they just collected more and more money, charging obscene prices for something that they just didn't want to invest in. They didn't want to push any further, or they didn't want to release. And AMD forced their hand. Competition forced their hand. The same thing on the GPU market. Competition has forced Nvidia to really up their game. And now, right, you look at the GPU market, you can go out and get a 7900 XTX or whatever the heck it is at a way cheaper price than an RTX 4080 and get comparable performance, right? Is it always going to be better? No. Okay. But is it, I need to spend $1,000 more worse? No. Okay. And that's what competition does. And when you have an exclusive deal, like they just signed, like IndyCar signed with Motorsports Games, what's the incentive for Motorsports Games to put out a quality product? What's the incentive? It's the only game in town. It's it. That's it. I can go race them on the iRacing platform, but if I want the actual officially licensed experience, I have to buy that game. If I buy that game and it's crap, what's the incentive for them to fix it? There isn't one. You've already paid for it. You've already bought it. What's the incentive for them to improve it? What's the competitive factor that's going to keep them honest? They don't have one. And that's the biggest issue that I see with this licensing deal. Yes, it sucks that iRacing has lost the license. It sucks we can't run an Indy 500 on the iRacing platform, right? Just like it sucks we can't run the Le Mans 24-hour, right? Just like it sucks that they've taken these things that we love to do and they've got these exclusive deals, that we can't use them. But overall, I think what they're doing is actually shooting themselves in the foot. And honestly, I think this is going to be a benefit to iRacing in the long run. Because now, motorsports games, they have a chance here to really show what they can do. But if this IndyCar game is anything like NASCAR Ignition was, my God, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad because people don't want that. They want a real racing experience. And the Ignition game was junk, garbage, right? And this IndyCar game, from everything that I've heard, keep in mind, it's not out yet. We won't know until we finally get the thing out, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And it sucks because at the end of the day, like I said, the people that it really hurts are you and me. It's the consumer. We're the ones that get screwed. Not the platforms, not the companies, it's us. Right? It's something that's taken away from us that we don't get to do now. All for what? Some naming rights, some licensing BS. It's stupid. So, whatever. I wasn't planning on doing any motorsports game stuff anyways, and I'm not going to be doing it now. You know what I mean? Not going to be going over there and checking it out. So, anyways, but you guys, there you go. That's kind of my 2 cents on it, man. Like I said, I had people asking me about it, and I just, I wanted to kind of do a little bit more research on it before I commented on it. And yeah, the more and more stuff that I found on it, the more I dug into it, the more I was just disappointed. It just sucks. And look, I've had people, who've asked me like, do I think, that this means iRacing is going to be losing any future license? I don't. If anything, I believe it's going to make the other parties out there realize the benefit of having your stuff licensed with iRacing. I think this game with motorsport, and look, I could be wrong, right? Because obviously I don't know. This is just my hunch based on what I'm seeing right now. But I think that this IndyCar game is going to be such a disaster that they're going to be like, oof, man, iRacing might not be perfect, but it's way better than this. So, I do think that we'll see a lot of the stuff that we've got right now on the iRacing platform. I think they're going to be. I don't see the World of Outlaws going anywhere. I don't see Nat as long as Dale Jr. is a part of the board. I don't see NASCAR going anywhere. Right? NASCAR has really, the more that they work together. NASCAR is really starting to figure out how much of a tool the iRacing platform can be. That's huge, right? And the more that they work together and do stuff like that, the greater benefit it is to both parties. And that's ultimately what you want with these types of deals. You want a mutually beneficial relationship. And I think iRacing has that with a lot of the people that are licensed with, or at least that's my belief. It looks like it. You look at like IMSA and stuff like that. They just redid all the GT3 cars, the LMP2 cars, right, with actual real world drivers and stuff like that. That's a big deal. They wouldn't do something like that if they thought they were going to be losing the license to IMSA, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that on the other fronts, I think they're good. Okay. IndyCar, they're losing. They never really had an F1 license, obviously. Obviously, we've got the F1 car, but that license, from my understanding, has more to do with Mercedes AMG Petronas than the actual Formula One. So I don't know the details on that, but that's just what I've kind of seen and heard. But anyways, so yeah, I wanted to kind of get all my thoughts in order and just kind of riff on it like I did and tell you what I think. So But you guys, that's going to do it. Thank you very much as always for joining me. Now, really quick before I go, if you like it, you know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, all that other good stuff. You can join me for my live streams. I do live stream on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Usually start around 7 p.m. Eastern. Those times might actually be moving up a little bit. It's going to kind of depend on what's happening with this other business that I'm starting up right now with my brother. So have to stay tuned for that, in terms of the live stream stuff, not the business. You guys aren't going to care about my auto glass business, but stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you want to join me for that. Also, if you want to check out our website, schoolofsimracing.net, you can get free access to our insider program where we've got the free access levels. Those levels are free from here on forward, where we actually help with the fixed series cars on the dirt oval and on the NASCAR side. Plus, we've got the free membership with a ton of free setups and help and different. We got free paint schemes and suits and helmets, a bunch of different stuff. And most importantly, we've got a community with literally thousands and thousands of people in it that are there helping one another, talking with one another, racing, all kinds of stuff. So if you want to check any of that stuff out, there's links for everything down in the description below. But that's going to do it. Thank you very much as always for joining me. Until next time, I want to wish you good luck, good racing.